There is mad drama unfolding on Blue Sky tonight, and we need to talk about it. And it's not just like frivolous drama, it's important drama. I'd had a real bad headache all afternoon and hadn't really been online. And so when I finally opened up my phone and was scrolling Blue Sky real quick before sitting down to film videos, immediately the first post I saw just snagged my attention, and I went right down a rabbit hole. So it was a post that was basically like, hey, did you know that some hotel rooms don't allow people who have an address within 50 miles of the hotel to stay there? And I knew, based on where my second kid used to work, I knew what this was going to be about. I wonder if you can guess where this is going. Why is it that hotels wouldn't want to rent rooms to people who live within 50 miles? What do you think is going on there? So I followed the thread back a little bit and saw this screen grab. Hi, this call is for Mr. Goldstone. This is from the Hampton Inn, Asheville Town Road. I see that you booked to stay with us for the night. I was calling to tell you, unfortunately, we do not allow locals who live within a 50-mile radius of the property. We will not be able to accommodate you. Right, so they canceled Mr. Goldstone's reservation when they found out that his driver's license, I guess, listed him as living within 50 miles of the hotel. Other folks said this is pretty standard for Hampton Inns around where they live. This hotel reserves the right to refuse occupancy to those who reside within 50 miles. You know where this is going yet? Yeah? So these kinds of policies are to prevent homeless people from staying in hotels in municipalities all around the country when there's inclement weather, when shelters are too full. Lots of local governments, county governments will issue vouchers or help homeless folks stay in hotels. And these large corporations, they don't want homeless people staying in their establishments. This is straight up 100% an anti-homelessness policy. This is 100% classism. Yet another example of how capitalism, mega corporations who, obviously are not owned and run by people who live in the community, they don't give a shit about the people who live in these communities. They don't care about human beings at all. They only care about profit. And it's been interesting over the last half hour to watch this discussion just blow up all over Blue Sky. People had lots and lots of opinions, and none of them were in support of this policy. But loads of them were folks discussing how these kind of anti-homeless policies for hotel chains, they impact all kinds of people. There are unintended negative consequences for several other groups of people. Someone in the comments was like, oh, as an alcoholic who no longer drinks, like this is creating a safety issue where people might drive home drunk who otherwise would go stay at the hotel near the bar or the party that they were at. But if hotels are no longer accepting anybody who lives within a 50-mile area, suddenly where is it that people go when it's not safe for them to drive home? This is the one that really got me. So many women in the comments discussing how local hotels were a godsend when they were trying to get out of abusive relationships and didn't have anywhere else to go, but they needed to stay locally so they could continue to go to their jobs or continue to take their children to their local schools, causing minimal disruption for their kids. They want to stay in their community, but their home is no longer safe. But this is the real kicker, that voicemail transcription that we saw to Mr. Goldstone. Do you know who Mr. Goldstone is? He's author Brian Goldstone, who wrote the book, There Is No Place for Us, Working and Homeless in America. Well done, Hampton Inn. You pick a renowned author whose area of focus is homeless advocacy, discussing the plight of working class people who are homeless in America. You picked that man to try and enforce this policy on. Wow, you really couldn't have fucked that up any harder, could you? So now, instead of this just being an isolated incident where they're getting away with their policy that's just like, it's really gross, it's really awful. Instead, they just brought a huge amount of attention to what they're doing. And they picked a fight with a man who's like, oh, this is exactly the hill that I'm willing to die on. Blue Sky is absolutely having a field day. In America, where irony is dead, a hotel chain uses a policy denying shelter to local people for fear of accidentally housing homeless persons to deny a reservation to the author of a much lauded book on how American economic unfairness forces working people into homelessness. According to the National Coalition for the Homeless, about 40% of homeless people in the United States are working. What they lack is financial stability that allows them to get into long-term housing. They lack long-term housing security, which creates this whole catch-22 and traps them in a cycle of homelessness, poverty, instability. This is late-stage capitalism, where mega corporations are raking in record profits. Mega corporations like the Hampton Inn. Hampton Inn and Suites is a hotel chain owned by Hilton, by the way. So these corporations are raking in record profits. We are living with the biggest wealth gap in the history of this nation. Working class people cannot keep a roof over their head. The absolute fucking irony of having a policy like this that you choose to try and enforce on an author who is raising awareness, bringing to light the situation, the plight of working class homeless people in this country. Honestly, it feels providential that they tried to do this to Mr. Goldstone, because now there's an opportunity for all of us to discuss this issue, raise awareness of this issue, and I'll go read Brian's book. The oligarchs in the United States want you to vote for your own oppression, to simp for billionaires. They want you to hate on homeless people and not understand the reality that because of them, because they do not pay their fair share of taxes, because they exploit all of us, because they treat us as nothing more than a conduit through which they can extract more wealth and resources, that we are one, or if you are upper middle class in this country, 2 crises away from homelessness yourself. You have far more in common with the homeless person who lives in your neighborhood than you ever will with a billionaire. You and those homeless folks who are being denied shelter beds, being denied vouchers to go stay at hotels to get out of the winter weather, you have more in common with those folks. You are a hair's breadth away from being those folks in late stage capitalism. While Donald Trump has increased his wealth, I saw that since he got elected, he's increased his wealth something like threefold. He was worth $2 billion and now he's worth over $6 billion. It's the grift and the graft. It's the overt corruption from the regime, the overt exploitation by the oligarchy. It's time for everybody in America to wake up to the reality that there is no war but the class war. And who are our comrades, who are our allies in that war? Our homeless neighbors, people struggling in poverty, any working class person. It's all of us versus the super rich. We all have a shared oppressor. Anyway, go check out the whole convo on Blue Sky. Really glad people are discussing this issue and really glad that Brian wrote his book. I look forward to reading it.